Today, I'd like to talk about Hostess, the company that you all know and love, the maker of Twinkies, Ding Dongs, Cupcakes, all that good stuff, but also a company with a long and storied history. And if you're young, you may not even remember the great Twinkie panic of 2012, 2013 era, where Twinkies Hostess basically went under and then was bought by another company, and then a bunch of crap happened. Kind of hard to follow, but essentially, Twinkies is now a different company, and this new company is going to be rebranding the Hostess brand. One of America's most beloved snack brands just refreshed its logo for the first time in 18 years. Hostess, the maker of snacks like Twinkies, Ding Dong Zingers, announced a subtle new rebrand from Design Bridge and Partners, which includes updated packaging and a revamped logo. The new logo is simplified and flat, dropping the drop shadow and gradient of the old logo and replacing it with a logo that uses a new font, brighter colors, and a cloud-like border the company says conveys the light and airy quality of every Hostess snack. The heart in the logo remains, and the logos for each individual snack brand were similarly updated in new fonts. This effort supports our commitments to modernize the brand while promoting quality and taste that helps differentiate our products. Andrea Graver, Director of Marketing at Hostess parent company, J.M. Smucker Company. So, as you can see now, J.M. Smucker Company now owns Hostess. Our goal is to excite current fans and encourage new fans to engage with the brand. Hostess said it conducted the redesign with multiple rounds of consumer testing, including having consumers evaluate packaging concepts and testing the products on a virtual store shelf to see how it might stand out in the stores. They found consumers prefer the new packaging 2-to-1. J.M. Smucker & Co., best known for its jams and brands like Jif, Peanut Butter, and Uncrustables, acquired Hostess in 2023 for $5.6 billion. At the time of the sale, Smucker said the acquisition would benefit the company's net sale growth, operating margin, and earnings growth, but 1 year later, sales have underperformed and Hostess laid off employees in August. Smucker president Mark Smucker blames the company's challenges with Hostess on continued cautiousness of the consumer in terms of inflation and lower discretionary income, as well as execution on the company's part, but he promised a turnaround was coming. We really have started to pivot, Smucker said on the company's most recent earnings call, citing the new packaging and a new advertising and marketing campaign in the new year that will speak to the emotional connection to the brand, as well as more display and distribution, something that's especially important for a product that's often an impulse buy. We still feel really excited about Hostess, Smucker said, adding that he expected to see improvements in the coming quarters. We love the brand. A yellow banner on the packaging says new look, same favorites, but it's unlikely consumers will be too confused by the Hostess rebrand. The snack company's revamped logo looks more modern without straying too far from its original look. Sounds like a recipe for success. So yeah, here's a good comparison image. They really didn't change much, as he said. They're just kind of going with a modern kind of color block scheme instead of this kind of more 90s, 2000s like swirl. They're kind of going with like a color block with the more, I don't know, nice font, I guess. That's fine. I don't really care about that. The funny part of this is the fact that this is what they're doing to make up their sales. They're lagging sales from shrinkflation, inflation, and what was the quote here? Hold on. Speak to the emotional content of the brand. Yes, continued cautiousness of the consumer in terms of inflation and lower discretionary income. Now, what is your response to that as the CEO of J.M. Smucker Company, who is running 25 billion different sub-brands? So Hostess is like one of many things that you have to take care of. So you really don't have time to really care about it that much. So you just say, hey, we'll do a repackaging. Get a bunch of people in here to do consumer testing. We'll spend a bunch of money on consumer testing, getting people looking at virtual fucking shells at 25 different box designs, only to end up with a design that's stunningly similar, just a little bit modernized, that you could probably have paid somebody $50 for on fucking, any website, and they could have made something better than that, honestly. I mean, I understand that companies have to go through a process, but they probably spent a lot of money to come up with this new look, same favorite, and they're going to use their marketing campaign to push this new look, same favorite, and appeal to the emotions, which means they're probably going to, have commercials that are like, remember when you had Twinkies as a kid? Now they're cool again. Here you go. Here's Ding Dongs again. Like, that's their plan. That's the big plan from J.M. Smucker and company to make Hostess relevant again in 2025. I pray and hope that that doesn't work, because it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You would think in that position, when you see that the economy is going south, you see that people are spending less on the kind of product that you make specifically, but you want to maintain profits, right? So what do? You don't just spend a bunch of money on a package redesign that's, I don't think, going to change much. Yes, consumers prefer it 2-to-1. Yes, people will grab a package because it's a new look. Like, that does work. People will walk in and see Twinkies or Hostess Ding Dongs and say, oh, new look, same favorite? I'll try that once. Then they'll eat it and be like, oh, this is worse than I remember it. I'll never buy this again. And then they won't buy it again. That's what's going to happen. That's my big prediction. Which could work in the short term, I guess. That could drive up your sales in 2025, only to lower them again in 2026. But they have to do something to justify spending $5.6 billion on Hostess. That's the point. That's really the end point of this entire conversation. The only reason this is happening, the only reason this package redesign is happening, is a desperate bid to make more money off of a well-established brand that a company spent $5.6 billion to acquire, and they want to make that money back. And they're going to do that by redesigning the package and hoping that fools people into buying it, instead of, making the product better or improving it, or, going to a throwback recipe. That would be good, because the fact of the matter is the Hostess products of today are not what they used to be. When Hostess went out of business in 2012 or 2013, the Twinkies and Ding Dongs that we all know and love were gone from that day forward. They became a different recipe. That took a little bit of digging to find, as a matter of fact. I had to go on the Internet Archive over here to look at this story from 2013. New Twinkies are smaller. Here's a comparison. They used to be 15 ounces, and they're 13.58, which they still are today. So you can give Hostess that. From 2013 until now, they have not shrunk the size of Twinkies at all. But what they did do in 2013 was shrink the size and change the ingredients to make them significantly worse. As it says here, this was, again, written in 2013. So, you might not have even been born. I don't know. The new company that bought the rights and recipes to make Twinkies says the iconic snack food is the same size as it was last November when the manufacturer went out of business. But the fans aren't mistaken. For much of 2012 and in earlier years, a box of 10 Twinkies weighed 15 ounces. The box on store shelves now weigh in at 13.58 ounces. A reduction in weight apparently took place late last year, just before the previous company went bankrupt in November. Boxes in stores at that time actually weighed 13.5 ounces, so technically it seems that the boxes now weigh 8/100ths of an ounce more than they did before. They are exactly the same size as they were when the old company went out of business last year. Now this is an interesting one, because this just screams to me of collusion. So they basically were like, hey, we're going to buy your Twinkies, so can you change them at the last minute so that we can say they're exactly the same size as we were when you guys went out of business, even though they're not? This is like one of those things where they were like, hey, just pretend that this was your decision, but really it's our decision. I think that's the case here. Twinkies are back, but they're not the same size. Apparently, making the sweets come. Okay, that's a tweet, whatever. The reduction in size wasn't the only change that occurred last year before the shutdown. A change in recipe also extended the shelf life of Twinkies to 45 days from their previous 26-day shelf life. That change took place on November 1st, but a strike by the Bakers Union halted production soon after. The company announced on November 16th would halt operations. Okay, so that's minor business right there about a Baker's Union halt, whatever. But the important part is, yes, they went from 15 to 13.58 ounces, and yes, the recipe changed to make the shelf life 20 days longer, and the recipe is worse. There is no doubt about that. I do feel like sometimes the old man who's like, man, things used to be better. But Hostess products 100% were better when I was younger, and not even when I was younger, but when I was like in my late teens, early 20s, like in 2010 era when I was in high school. Like that was I loved Twinkies and shit. Those were peak. But since then, I've never really bought them because they're so bad. Like it's like every once in a while I'll try something and just hate it. The little baby bunt cakes I think are the only things I kind of like, but they're a little overpriced. But anyways, the point is, Hostess is doing this rebrand, and they're going to launch this nice marketing campaign, which they go into very great detail here. I don't want to read the whole thing because this video is already long enough. But if you want to read some very interesting news, food business news right here, I'll put these links in the video description. But this is, if you want your blood to boil, basically, if you want to read what marketers really think of people, if you want to read like how Hostess like thinks of you as a person, you can read it. You can read it pretty well here in their speak here, their corporate speak. It's pretty funny. At least in my opinion. It's pretty amazing, the choice of words that they use here. The launch of the new logo and packaging design is an exciting way to kick off the next chapter for this great brand and introduce ourselves to new fans. When we talk to consumers about the brand, the thing we hear again and again is about the joy it brings, and we are eager to celebrate the special feeling of enjoying a favorite Hostess treat through this work. But I'm not seeing it. Like, where's the joy? What joy does redesigning the packaging do? Maybe redesign the product to be what people remember it to be, and there'll be a little bit of joy there. So that's the end message. Read this if you want to get pissed off, and learn a little bit more about why Hostess is shit now and how corporate acquisitions and privatized, money and things like that result in companies like this that were around for many years, making great products, turning into dog shit. So that's that. Hostess rebrand. Don't buy it. Don't buy their shit. They will probably try to shrink their products at some point. Keep an eye out. They haven't done it yet. That's the one point I'll give them. They haven't shrunk their products since they acquired Hostess. Or since like the original Hostess went down. Technically, Smoker only acquired it last year. This is really their first push into actually owning the product. They've only owned it for like a year now. And things move slowly in the corporate world. So now they're finally starting to get their changes out, which means if they're going to shrink it or do any other kind of changes, they will do it soon. So keep your eye out, because Hostess is owned by Smucker now, and they're just as bad, I guess. I don't know if they're any worse, but they're all bad. And they all are not looking out for you. They're looking out for their bottom line and making it go up every single year, regardless of the nature of the world, the nature of the product, or anything like that. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.